China has been rapidly increasing its presence in Africa in recent years, with a focus on economic investment and infrastructure development. According to the China Africa Research Initiative, China has invested over $300 billion in Africa since 2005, making it the continent's largest trading partner. However, many experts argue that this investment has come at a cost to African countries, with China accused of engaging in economic exploitation, environmental degradation, and political interference. One of the most concerning aspects of China's influence in Africa is its lending practices. Chinese loans often come with strings attached, such as the use of Chinese firms for construction work and the importation of Chinese labor. This has resulted in limited local employment opportunities and a lack of skills transfer, hindering African countries' long-term economic development. Additionally, Chinese companies involved in natural resource extraction, such as mining, have been accused of illegal practices and disregard for environmental regulations. This has led to environmental degradation, including deforestation and pollution, and has negatively impacted local communities' health and livelihoods. According to a report by the African Development Bank, only 18% of the workers on Chinese-funded infrastructure projects in Africa are local. This has contributed to high levels of unemployment in some African countries, particularly among young people. Furthermore, Chinese firms are often accused of using cheap labor and not following local labor laws. China's role in natural resource extraction in Africa is also a source of concern. Chinese companies are involved in mining and natural resource extraction in many African countries, including Zambia, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Zimbabwe. However, there have been accusations of illegal practices and disregard for environmental regulations. For example, in Zambia, Chinese-owned copper mines have been accused of polluting local water sources, while in Zimbabwe, Chinese companies have been accused of illegally exporting rare hardwoods. The negative effects of China's economic exploitation on local communities are clear. Many African countries are among the poorest in the world, and China's actions are exacerbating poverty and inequality in the region. China's impact on the environment in Africa has been widely criticized. Chinese companies are involved in deforestation, pollution, and wildlife trafficking in many African countries. For example, in Cameroon, Chinese companies are involved in illegal logging, which has contributed to deforestation and the loss of habitat for endangered species. In Zimbabwe, Chinese firms have been accused of exporting elephant tusks and other wildlife products, contributing to the decline of African wildlife populations. The negative effects of China's environmental degradation on local communities are significant. Pollution from Chinese-owned factories has led to health problems among local people in many African countries. In Zambia, Chinese-owned copper mines have polluted local water sources, leading to increased rates of illness among local people. In addition, the loss of habitat and biodiversity due to deforestation and wildlife trafficking has had a major impact on the livelihoods of many African communities who rely on natural resources for their survival. China's involvement in African politics is another cause for concern. China has been accused of using aid and investment as a tool for political influence in Africa. For example, in Zimbabwe, China has been accused of propping up authoritarian regimes and undermining democratic institutions. In Sudan, China has been accused of providing weapons to the government, which has been involved in human rights abuses. The negative effects of China's political interference on human rights and democracy in Africa are significant. By supporting authoritarian regimes, China is contributing to the suppression of civil society and the media, making it more difficult for citizens to hold their governments accountable. In addition, China's support for these regimes undermines efforts to promote democratic institutions and human rights in Africa. In conclusion, China's influence on Africa has largely been negative, characterized by economic exploitation, environmental degradation, and political interference. While China has made some positive contributions to Africa's development, such as funding infrastructure projects, These contributions have often come with strings attached and have saddled African countries with unsustainable levels of debt. African governments must prioritize. Thank you for watching. We would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more content.